So we first want to clear this denominator by multiplying both sides by x minus 1. So I'm going to multiply this side by x minus 1, and this side by x minus 1. So when I distribute x minus 1 to 2 divided by x minus 1, I just get 2. And when I distribute x minus 1 to x, I get x multiplied by x minus 1. And then on the right-hand side, I have 5 multiplied by x minus 1. So now I'm going to simplify both sides. And solve the equation. So if I take a look at this for a moment, I can see that I'm not going to be able to factor this. If it were negative 7 instead of positive 7, I would have a way to factor that. But I can't come up with two numbers that multiply to 7 and add to negative 6. You could think 1 and 7 or negative 1 and negative 7. Neither of those give me a sum of negative 6. So I can use the quadratic formula here. So you can say x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So this gives me x equals 6 plus or minus, and then 36 minus 28 is the square root of 8. So that's 6 plus or minus 2 root 2 over 2. So this is 3 plus or minus root 2. And probably the easiest thing to do is check to see what happens when I graph both sides of this equation. I can check graphically. I could check by plugging in, but it might not be very fun to plug in 3 plus root 2 or 3 minus root 2 into this equation. So let's just graph this. When I graph it, I see that I have two solutions, 1.586 and 4.414. And if we check with a calculator, I'll pull up Desmos Scientific. Let's see, what are we checking? 3 plus root 2 and 3 minus root 2. So if I say 3 plus square root 2, I get this number 4.414, and then if I do 3 minus root 2, I get 1.586, which is that number. So I see that both of these are solutions.